There's a moment at the end of The Wolfman, and if you've seen it, you know it, that I genuinely think is one of the most devastating endings in horror. Larry Talbot lies on the ground, the wolf has vanished, and his father, Sir John Talbot, finally sees him clearly. Only after he's killed him. And every time I watch that scene, I think the same thing. The Wolfman isn't about a werewolf curse. It's a father-son story. It's about a father who refuses to believe his son and a son who spends the entire film begging to be seen. And that hits even harder when you remember Lon Chaney Jr. was living the exact story off-screen, in the shadow of the most famous father in silent film history. I'm Antonia Carlotta, and this is Universally Me, the channel for all things Universal and classic horror. My family started Universal Studios, and they made the Universal monsters. When I talk about the Wolfman, I usually talk about the transformation, the makeup, Kurt Siodmak's beautiful backstory, or Evelyn Ankers and Lon Chaney Jr. on set. But even more than that, what makes the Wolfman endure, what makes it really hurt, is that it's a father-son story first and a horror film second. Larry Talbot comes home after years away, trying to reconnect and trying to belong. He's trying to step into a legacy that was never really his to begin with. And right away, the movie tells us all we need to know about this relationship. Sir John Talbot is distant, logical, and emotionally unavailable. He's not mean, but it's not in his nature to be open with his love. Larry Talbot is sensitive, curious, a little awkward, and really earnest. He is desperate for approval, and you can see that in how he looks to his dad all the time when they're talking. Larry's returned home after his brother's death, so we're already in emotional territory. Larry wasn't the one who followed the rules. He wasn't the one who stayed. So he's trying to figure out where he fits, and he's trying to be accepted for once by his dad. Lon Chaney Jr. plays Larry with a vulnerability that feels really exposed for 1941. He's big, yes, and imposing, even next to Claude Rains as his father, but he's also really soft and open. He wants connection, meaning, love. He wants his father to take him seriously. Sir John Talbot doesn't really see Larry as a person. He sees him as the future manager of the estate and as a problem to be managed. He doubts everything without a logical explanation. Even when Gwen first brings Larry in after the attack, when she says he was attacked by a wolf, Sir John's first response is nonsense. There haven't been wolves around here in years. As Larry is later questioned, there's no coddling. But behind the scenes, Sir John will still go to bat for him. He's not evil after all. But when Larry talks about strange feelings, Sir John dismisses it. When Larry expresses fear, Sir John intellectualizes it. And when Larry begs for help, Sir John ties him to a chair and leaves him. And all of that is the biggest tragedy of the film. Sir John believes he's doing the right thing. He's not cruel, he's grounded, rational, scientific. He thinks superstition is foolish and emotion is indulgent. But he loves his son, but only on his terms. That means Larry has to suppress everything that doesn't fit into his dad's worldview. He has to believe the curse is impossible or the fear is irrational, even as he's living it. When he keeps trying to tell his dad something's wrong, his dad only hears hysteria. And instead of protecting his son, he just corrects him. And in the end, instead of saving Larry, he unknowingly seals his fate. I get so sad and mad for Larry when his dad abandons him tied to a chair, just trying to prove he's lost his mind. Larry looks so scared, and rightfully so. All he can do is convince his dad to take the wolf's head cane for protection, the very cane that would soon be used against him. When we get to the final scene, his dad attacks him with that cane over and over and over again, never stopping for a moment to consider that he might be wrong and the creature he's attacking might actually be his son. Now let's turn to Lon Chaney Jr., because as I talk about all of this, I can't help but feel the Wolfman is strangely biographical. Lon Chaney Jr. was born Creighton Chaney, the son of Lon Chaney Jr., also known as the Man of 1,000 Faces. He was the Hunchback and the Phantom, a true pioneer, genius, and legend. But as a father, he left something to be desired. Lon Chaney Jr. maintained for years that he had a tough childhood. He lived in homes and various boarding schools as a kid, not with his dad, and he listened to his dad for years when he told him he should stay away from the film industry. But once his father died, Creighton, as he was still being called, finally stepped into show business and was instantly cast in his father's shadow. By the time Wolfman came around, the industry had changed his name to Lon Chaney Jr. He had been rebranded to fit their mold. In some ways it was an honor, but in some ways it was a curse, just like Larry Talbot's curse. Imagine building a life where your name constantly reminds people you're not the original, where every success is compared, every failure is magnified, and every role is weighed against a legend who has become immortal. Lon Chaney Jr. wanted to be taken seriously as an actor. He wanted respect, and I'm sure he wanted to feel he'd become a man who would make his father proud. But his father hadn't been there for him like that in life, and in death, he'd never have the chance. Lon Chaney Jr. became a universal monster just like his dad. And yes, the Wolfman made him a star, but it also trapped him. Just like Larry Talbot, the very thing that made him destroyed him. Behind the scenes, Chaney's struggles with alcohol and depression mirror Larry's struggles so perfectly. There's no way this was just acting. This was something much deeper, much more meaningful to the core of Lon Chaney Jr. and his relationship with his dad. He carried the weight of his father's legacy, the studio's expectations, and his own self-doubt until it broke him. When you watch Chaney's performance in The Wolfman again through this lens, it's impossible not to see it. There's fear, but there's also shame. Disappointing his father or being seen as broken or unworthy of the family name. We love to talk about the monsters as metaphors, and with The Wolfman, it's not vague, it is very specific. It's what happens when sons internalize rejection, when there's love but not understanding. What happens when fathers won't or maybe can't listen. Maybe the Wolfman isn't a supernatural curse, but a generational one. Larry Talbot was begging to be heard, understood, and loved by his father. And the cruelest part is that Sir John did love his son, but not in the way he needed. And unfortunately, in a way that required him to be someone else, to be rational, controlled, and untroubled. By the time Sir John finally understands the truth, by the time he accepts that the monster he's hunted is his own child, it's too late. The realization only comes after the damage is done and the love has turned fatal. In so many ways, Lon Chaney Jr. was Larry Talbot. A man forever compared to a legend, forever trying to prove he was worthy of love and respect. And just like Larry, he found success, but at a cost. So when the Wolfman lies dead in the forest and the fog lifts, we're not watching the defeat of a monster. We're watching the end of a father-son relationship. All right, let's get real in the comments. How's your relationship with your dad? Which universal monster reminds you most of him? I haven't seen mine in about a decade, so I guess I'll call him the Invisible Man. If you love these universal and classic horror deep dives, make sure you're subscribed. Hit the like button and the notification bell so you never miss a video. Don't forget paid members are getting bonus videos, pictures, and more. It's the best way to support Universally Me. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.